Marci. I'm going to put this hero at 3 stars, and the reason is it's kind of easy to mess up her skills and overextend and die. This hero plays very well when she's ahead, but when she starts falling behind, it becomes very easy to do nothing useful on this hero. Doesn't have too much natural farm potential because you don't want to use all of your mobility skills and your only stun just to clear a wave, so it's a little... If it's ahead, it's extremely strong. But if it's behind and you're not very good at landing the skills, it's very easy to do nothing on this hero. So I don't recommend it to as one of your first couple of heroes. Mars. Mars, he's the hero that I'm going to recommend for everyone who wants to learn offlane. This hero is amazing. You can max either God's Rebuke or Spear of Mars. You're extremely powerful against ranged heroes. I recommend... when I go over the offlane, this is the hero that I'm going to use to showcase the offlane. He is an amazing offlaner. He can focus on pushing waves. He can focus on team fightings. He can build for pickoffs instead of outright team fights. This hero is amazing, and he's very, very versatile. So if you want to learn how to play the offlane, I definitely recommend Mars. Pretty much every game, you can go for a Soul Ring, and then Phase Boots, and then Blink, and then BKB. Just don't forget to buy Health Regen in the laning phase, and that should work for you pretty much every game, allowing you to focus on your positioning, and what your opponent's doing, and how to play with your team. He's great. I highly, highly recommend Mars if you're new to the game. Night Stalker. Now, I touched on this earlier. Night Stalker, when it becomes night, he gains 40% move speed and 80 attack speed. Now, this is important because the hero is kind of strong, but he's really slow, and he doesn't attack very fast in the daytime. I put this hero at a 1 star. I do not recommend new players play this unless they really, really want to. This hero has to play as if he's very far behind during the daytime, sometimes. And then when nighttime comes, you have to be hyper aggressive and coordinate with your team and know who your spells are strong against to make a big advantage while nighttime is going on. You have to threaten and zone enemy heroes, and I feel like that takes a lot of game sense and coordination to recommend it as a new player hero. So I don't recommend you do Night Stalker unless you know someone who's very good at it and is willing to teach you. I recommend that you stay away from Night Stalker. Omni Knight. I'm going to put him at 3 stars. His ulti is very powerful. It prevents physical damage for your entire team for 5, 6.5, and then 8 seconds at levels 1, 2, and 3. This hero, there's a term that you'll hear me use in the future called do shit heroes. This hero is not a do shit hero, and that kind of puts him at a bit of a disadvantage. He's very reactive. He can be very powerful, but he's in a little bit of a weak state right now, so I don't recommend that new players play heroes that are weak unless they just really, really like the look of him. You do need to know how dispels work, and you do need to know what your job is in the game. And for this hero, that can change an awful lot based on your lineup and the enemy team's lineup, which makes this a mechanics heavy and a game knowledge heavy hero, which is why I don't. That's also currently weak in the meta, so I don't recommend it to new heroes. Phoenix. Now, this hero can be easily countered. It's countered by ranged heroes. It's countered by high attack speed heroes. It's countered by heroes that have dispels. It's very easy to die like a noob on this hero, but I absolutely love playing it. And if you play it until you get good, you will be a very good initiator. I put this at somewhere between 3 or 4 stars. If you like the look of it, absolutely play Phoenix. He's amazing. He can be so much fun to play, and once you get good at him, he can be very strong. I do recommend for most Phoenixes that you start out by just going Tranquil Boots, Ethereal Blade, and just cast the Ethereal Blade on whatever hero you're going to ult next to. Primal Beast. So, Primal Beast, he got nerfed in this latest patch. I'm going to put him at a 3-star. And he can play mid, he can play off lane, he can play support in both lanes. The hero's base stats are incredibly strong, but this hero has a disadvantage in the sense that he telegraphs everything that he's about to do, and his tankiness is based on his passive called Uproar, which requires the enemy team to hit him first. Having durability based on taking damage from your opponent means that he's going to lose a whole bunch of health before he actually gets to use this, which makes him in a weird spot to play, and his abilities are very, very telegraphed. So it's pretty easy to know when this hero is about to do something because he yells and it's audible through the fog of war. You don't even have to see him, you can just hear him charging up his attack. And because he's so telegraphed, if you're facing players with more experience than you, it's very easy to kind of just fall off on this hero. You have to land skill shots, you have to itemize well against your opponents, you have to know what heroes on the enemy team you're actually going to be able to kill, and you have to play aggressively against those heroes, and that all requires a tremendous amount of game knowledge, as well as proper fight setup. I just think there's better heroes. If you want to play off lane, I recommend Mars. If you want to play mid, I recommend Mars. If you want to play a position 4, I could recommend so many other heroes. There's just heroes that are better than him to learn all of the other roles. So play Primal Beast if you want to. He can be tremendously fun. But yeah. Pudge. Pudge. Now, I love Pudge. I've played an immense amount of Pudge. But I'm going to tell you a secret about Pudge. He's a low win rate hero. Pudge does next to nothing in the laning phase. The way you want to think about Pudge is that he absolutely has to get 2 kills on the enemy carry in the laning phase, the first 10 minutes of the game, or you were better off picking a hero that wasn't Pudge. This hero is pretty bad at trading because he has no armor, and his best trading skill, he has to walk up in melee range to the enemy heroes to trade with them with Rot, and it deals damage to himself. He has no natural recovery in his kit until he gets his ultimate, and his only damage skill is Meat Hook. It's single target, it's a skill shot, it can be blocked, and it can be dodged. And it can be missed. Yeah. The strongest part about this hero's laning phase is that you scare the support into submission, and you can always hook large creeps to give yourself a little bit of extra XP and farm. But you do have to get 2 kills on the enemy carry in the laning phase to be on equal footing to any other position 4 that's prominently played in meta. That's the way you want to think about it. If you can't get 2 kills on the enemy carry, your team is behind, and they're behind because you picked Pudge. Now, this hero is insanely fun, and if you get good at him, by all means, play him. I'm not here to tell you what you can't play. I just want you to be aware that this hero has the potential to ruin your position 3's lane. If you cannot kill the enemy carry, you have sandbagged your team and put them at a disadvantage. If you like him, pick him. If you really, really want to win, learn another hero first. That's what I gotta say about Pudge. Sand King, I put Sand King at an absolute top tier 5-star offlaner. You can also take him in the mid lane. Sand King is a teamfight dominator who can also split push if he needs to. He's absolutely amazing. He kind of sucks at actually taking buildings, but you know, you've got other heroes on the team, and maybe they can handle that. So I highly recommend Sand King if you like the look of him, particularly in the off lane or the mid lane. He's very good in both of those. Slardar. I put Slardar at 3 stars, and that's because this hero is amazing, but it's very easy, if you're a bad Slardar, to accomplish literally nothing and just kind of die like a dog and just lose painfully without doing anything. So yeah, if you get really far behind on Slardar, it's pretty easy to lose hard. So yeah. Snapfire. I'm going to put Snapfire at a 4-star. You pretty much want to play this hero as either a position 4 or a position 5. You can take it mid, but it's not optimal. By all means, do it if you want, but yeah, just be aware that it's not optimal. You get to focus on hero facing with Fire Snap Cookie, so that hero facing is something that you do want to be aware of, so that you can get used to using stuff like Force Staff and certain facing-based abilities. There's a whole bunch of those, more than people tend to think about. So any hero that gets you used to facing, making sure that your teammates are running away before you cast Cookie on them to save them, or making sure that they're running towards the enemy hero if you want to cast Cookie to stun them, can be a very good mechanic to just get used to paying attention to. And Scatter Blast is an insanely strong skill. Mortimer Kisses is fun. This hero uses American magic, and by that I mean bombs. Highly recommend Snapfire as the position 4 or the position 5. Spiritbreaker. Gonna put this one at a 4-star. Spiritbreaker is extremely simple. He sees an enemy hero that he doesn't like, and he charges them. And then he hits them, and he bashes them. And if he really doesn't like him, he uses his ulti, and he bashes them again and harder. Extremely simple, allowing you to focus on what your team's doing, what the enemy team's doing, and trying to play strategically against them without worrying too much. I recommend going something like Tranquil Boots, Magic Stick into drums, and then maybe a Blade Mail, maybe a Dagon, maybe some attack speed items, maybe like an Echo Saber, something like that, maybe a Shadow Blade, maybe a Glimmer Cape even. Whatever you feel like. This hero, because he plays very straightforward, you get to focus on a whole bunch of what else is happening in the game, so it's a great hero to learn on. Sven, this is going to be my second most recommended carry. Most is going to be CK. Sven is, I'm going to put him at 5-star. He cleaves. He has 100% cleave. He has a basic stun. He can give himself move speed, all pretty standard abilities, and then his ulti gives him a huge amounts of damage. If you get his Ags, which I highly recommend that you do, then you basically have a free blink on this hero that moves you to the enemy and stuns them. He's very straightforward to play. He's also very strong. He's really cool. I can't recommend Sven enough to new players, especially if you want to learn the carry role. He farms like a monster too. He's very strong. Have to recommend. Tidehunter, another very strong and straightforward hero. This guy is going to be based around using his alt, Ravage. It has an absolutely huge radius. It's the size of your screen, and it's a long duration stun. A 2.8 second stun. He's got a talent that increases it by 1 second over here at his level 25. He reduces armor, and he's very tanky with Kraken Shell. He's very durable, and his ult is an absolutely huge team fight turning spell. So if you want to play Initiator, if you like playing off lane, this can be an insanely fun hero. Timbersaw. I absolutely love Timbersaw. I play a lot of Timbersaw when I get the chance, when it's a good game for it. I'm going to put him at a 2-star, though. The reason I put Timbersaw at 2-star is because you have to carefully manage your reactive armor, and you have to be able to pay attention to the map and identify trees whilst paying attention to everything else. That's something that most heroes just ignore. Like, they know that trees exist and they know that things are in their way, but they aren't trying to cast spells specifically on individual trees. And if you want to be good at this hero, you have to be able to target certain trees, destroy trees that are in your way so that you can target trees behind them, and pay just a whole bunch of attention to trees that no other hero has to care about. So yeah, I recommend that you play him as a 3 if you do like the look of him. He can be incredibly durable. A warning to those who want to play him: this hero falls off like a rock. He just stops being useful at about 30 to 40 minutes into the game. No matter how you play him, his damage is pure and very limited, and he needs a ton of defensive items. He needs a ton of mana items. He needs I don't know. it's not optimal. He falls off hard. So you really have to press your advantage when you have it without ever overextending. The second you overextend, your hero falls off by quite a bit, and the further the game goes, the further your hero falls off. So Timbersaw, he walks a very fine line. He likes to live on the edge. I absolutely adore playing him, but it's very easy to start losing hard with that hero. So be careful if you do play him. Tiny. Now, right now, there are two setups for Tiny. One is as a carry and one is as a support. I'm going to put the support at 3-star, and I'm going to put the carry at 4-star. The carry is pretty straightforward. You buy attack speed, like Power Chet's Echo Saber. You grab your tree grab, which is the Aghanim Shard, at 15 minutes when it becomes available. You farm like a madman, and then you become a late game monster. A support build, you're going to go something like Soul Ring, Tranks, Magic Stick, so that you can rush a Blink, because that's a fairly cheap setup that lets you play aggressive. You're going to max Avalanche and Toss, grab your points in your ulti as you can. And you're going to play a Spellcaster who jumps heroes. It's very strong, but it's also very positioning dependent. You have to know what you can do and what you can't do, and you have to play it aggressively, but you have to avoid dying too. Or else you just start falling really far behind. So the support, if you're going to play this hero as a support, I'm going to put it at 3-star. If you're going to play it as a carry in the safe lane, I put it at a 4-star. Because the carry is much easier to pull off than the support. Tristan Protector. This is one of my most played heroes. I absolutely adore him. I'm going to put him at 4 stars. Now, people who don't play Tristan Protector think that you're supposed to level living armor. And I'm just going to tell you right now, max Leech Seed and thank me later. Okay? Nature's Grasp and Leech Seed are skills that pair very well together. So if you're maxing Leech Seed and you're putting all your extra points into Nature's Grasp, you're an incredibly strong laner who has a tremendous amount of threat that they can exert. Leech Seed, for those who suck at math, I had to run through the math off camera just to make sure that I can still do mental math. This is a 300 damage nuke at level 4 and a 300 AoE heal. That's a 26% move slow. This is a 60 damage per second with potential of 12 seconds. Now that's insane damage potential. You're not going to land the full duration on it. But if you pair these two together, you can use the movement slow from Leech Seed to drastically extend the amount of damage you get out of Nature's Grasp. And you can go Soul Ring and cast this spell combo for basically free. So, if you max Leech Seed with your extra points in Nature's Grasp, taking your ult at level 6, you'll be like 2 points in this, 3 points in this, 1 point in this, with Brown Boots and a Soul Ring. It is so strong. It is amazing. I recommend playing this hero if you like the look of Tristan Protector. I have a video out on him. You can watch it if you want to, but honestly, it's a really terrible video. I leave it up on the channel as kind of a reminder to myself of how far I've come since 2.5 weeks ago. But yeah, this hero, very strong if you play him right. Highly recommend playing him as a position 4. I don't recommend him as a position 5. You can with the right matchup, but because it's matchup dependent and that's complicated, I don't recommend it to start with. Moving on to Tusk. Tusk is absolutely amazing. You can play him position 3, position 4, or even position 5. There's a lot to learn about Ice Shards and Snowball. Tag Team can be a little bit janky to use initially, and Walrus Punch is very good. The hero excels at assassinating squishy heroes on the enemy team, but if you get good at casting his spells, you can control the game from any position. It's the sort of hero who's pretty simple to start playing, but he has a very, very high skill cap. So if you want a hero that you can spam in any role, any lane, every game, Tusk is definitely a hero that you can take to do that with in general. He's great. Underlord. Underlord, I'm going to put him at a 5-star off-laner. It's very easy to do very well on Underlord. Basically, you can be an outright tank, or you can be sort of a backline control hero with Pit of Malice. You can, because there's several different builds, this hero has plenty of versatility. He can shove lanes, he can respond globally, he can be a frontline invulnerable monster, he has an AoE roach that's just a pain in the butt for the entire enemy team. It's very, very easy to do well on this hero, and there are several approaches to playing him. Him and Mars, probably the two best heroes to learn for the offlane. Undying. Now, my win rate on Undying is absolutely atrocious, but I play with someone who spams this hero all the time, and here's my assessment. This hero rides a very fine line between being a monster, destroying the enemy team in the early game, and being a feeder, as the entire reason you lost is because some noob on your team picked Undying and just threw the entire game away. The hero is very hard to play, and you should definitely look into how to play it before you start spamming it. It rides a threshold. That's really the only thing that you can say about it. It's very easy to lose very, very hard on this hero. It's very easy to do nothing productive on that hero. Wraith King, I'm going to put him at 4 stars as a carry. His ulti is a cooldown wherein every however so often the cooldown is at based on his level. He can die and then be resurrected with full HP after a couple seconds, and every enemy who's near him when he dies is slowed. Now, this hero excels when the enemy team wants to, or has ridiculously powerful team fight skills, and that kind of makes him good against certain matchups. Any hero that's really matchup dependent, I'm going to tend not to recommend to new heroes, but he's very straightforward to play, so I put him at a 4-star. You can do a lot on this hero by getting a Blink Dagger and a Blade Mail and the Aghanim's Shard, and just being willing to go in whenever your team wants to take a fight. If you can do that, you can be a good Wraith King. Anyway, that's going to be it for now. I'll probably split this into 2 separate videos, because it's already coming up on 40 minutes, and all we did was talk about the strength heroes in the game. We didn't get into any of the agi or int heroes. But we'll do that probably tomorrow, actually. Yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll do that tomorrow. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. If you do find this content useful, or think that it would be useful to new players, please consider sharing it, or leaving a like, or even subscribing to the channel. It would mean a lot to me if you would consider that. Thank you, and I'll see you next time with the next video on Agility Heroes.